Seeing progress is the single best motivator. And I know that you should fuck motivation, you should embrace discipline. Motivation is temporary while discipline is. Fuck that. Fuck these videos. Discipline is good. Obviously, you must have discipline in your life. But if you have motivation, you're gonna perform better on your training session, you're gonna enjoy every training session more, and you're actually gonna be excited to go and train and make progress. Motivation will always be the discipline. So instead of obsessing about discipline, why don't we ask ourselves how to actually increase motivation? So the answer to that question I already told you, it's seeing progress on a regular basis. But if your goal is to build a 10 out of 10 physique, how do you actually track that progress? This is something we're gonna discuss in today's video. But before we begin, why should you even listen to me? My name is Karol. I have 6 years of experience with strength training and building muscle. I have read many books about training, took several courses and tested countless different training methodologies and programs. And in the end, I managed to build my 10 out of 10 physique without ever obsessing about bodybuilding. If you want to build a top 1% physique, become brutally strong and make every girl in the gym lust over you, and make all that in a fun and enjoyable way, is the top link in the description. So how do we actually track progress in building muscle? The first method, you could just take measurements of your body, but this is, let's face it, it's very inconvenient, and the measurements of your body could even fluctuate on daily basis depending on how much salt you've eaten. For example, I have this watch on my wrist. It's always on the same width, and it's weird because on some days it literally feels tight, squeezes my hand, but on other days it just slips all the way to my wrist. So you can see, measurements are a very inconsistent way of tracking progress. So what is the alternative? Basically it is to prioritize strength. Why should we do that? Let me explain you something. In order to build muscle effectively, you need two things. One, pick up heavy shit and put it down repeatedly. And two, on the next training session, pick up more heavy shit and put it down repeatedly than on your last training session. This is basically called progressive overload, and it's a single most important factor when it comes to building muscle. It just means to do more than you did last time. This is progressive overload. And let me tell you something very interesting. For years, we thought that progressive overload is one of the main drivers of hypertrophy. Basically, we grow because we use progressive overload. But in recent years, more and more studies start showing that progressive overload is not a driver, it's the evidence of hypertrophy. Each time we successfully progressively overload, each time we are able to do more than we did last time, after that our muscles grow a little bit, every time. So each time you are able to just do more reps, do more sets, or lift more weight than you did last time, you can be sure that your muscles grew a little bit from the previous workout. Because if they didn't, you simply wouldn't be able to do more. You get what I mean? So let me give you a simple framework on how to actually start prioritizing strength in your training. So obviously, you need to pick exercises that are fun for you, that you will stick to for longer periods of time. And I would really recommend compound movements. They should be the majority of your training because they are just foundation of gains in your body. And please stick to one exercise for at least 4 weeks before you decide to change it to another one. You really need that consistency with the stress you're giving to the body. And the second thing is to pick a progression scheme. This basically means you need a system to effectively track your progress, track progressive overload, see if you're really becoming stronger and building more muscle. So the most basic progression scheme is a simple double progression. And how it works is you basically pick some kind of repetition range. It just depends on your goals, but I usually recommend a rep range of 8 to 12 reps. You always want to stay inside of that range of 8 to 12 reps. You basically first pick a weight on the exercise you have chosen that you will be able to fall into that repetition range. For example, you pick bench press 75 kg, you assume you would be in that repetition range, so you pick it. You go to failure and you are able to do 10 reps. Let's say you do like 2 more sets of that and you call it a day. On the next training session, you really strive to get to the end of that repetition range. So let's say after 2 workouts, you finally do 3 sets of 12 reps of 75 kg bench press. So you were able to achieve the end range of that repetition range. And now you can increase the weight of the lift. How much to increase it? You basically will have to experiment a bit. You want to increase it enough so that you will be able to do less than 12 reps. And you also want to lift it not too much. Because for example, if you decided to increase the weight by 10 kgs, you will definitely fall out of that repetition range. You would do like 5 reps. So let's say you increase it by 5 kg and you are able to do 8 reps for 3 sets. And that is perfect. Then you just repeat the cycle. You still throughout the next couple of workouts you strive to achieve the 12 reps and so on. You just repeat that cycle. That's called the double progression. And it's one of the most effective methods for beginners and intermediates to progress in the gym. And the first step, obviously you need to note it down somewhere to memorize it. So I would recommend a physical paper training journal for that. And if you do all that, you're set. You should see progress on every single training session, which will actually motivate you a lot. It will, every time you see progress, it will give you like a boost of motivation, because you will also be aware that you progressed. So that means you grew a little bit more muscle from the previous training session. And tell me that it's not powerful. Yeah? Like you will be constantly having these shots of motivation, like it's amazing. And that's all for this video. Again, if you found this video helpful, the top link in the description will let you become strong, powerful, and develop a top 1% physique in a systematic and fun way. Peace out.